The Accidental Entrepreneur is brought to you with the help of our sponsor, AWeber, the world's leading small business email marketing and automation service provider. Since 1998, AWeber has helped more than 1 million small businesses and entrepreneurs through its suite of web-based email marketing, automation tools, and education. AWeber, the best option when it comes to marketing your business. The podcast is also brought to you by the Alternative Board. Since 1989, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has been one of the leading peer advisory and business coaching organizations for independent business owners and CEOs across the world. By facilitating peer advisory boards, private one-on-one coaching, and strategic planning services, TAB helps business owners improve their businesses in ways that change their lives. And be sure to connect with our affiliate sponsor, GSM Growth Agency. They're boosting e-commerce businesses to 6 and 7 figures in revenue and cover everything from ads and social media influencers to making your website better. GSM Growth Agency focuses on taking businesses from startup success to bigger success, going above and beyond to make sure growth sticks around. They're all about cool ideas, lasting partnerships, and making your mark in the e-commerce world. And be sure to support the podcast by ordering some logo merchandise from our online store. Listen to all of our sponsors' commercials later in this episode and follow their links in the show notes to learn more about their products and services. All right, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am Mitch Beinacker, your host, and we have another special guest. Well, everybody's a special guest. So, although Glenn is the first guy who really danced to the music, which after 325 episodes, you think somebody else would have done that. So I appreciate that very much, Glenn. You'll be on in a minute. So if you are listening on your favorite audio directory, leave us a 5-star review. Amazon, Google, I don't think Google has podcasts anymore, but certainly Apple has it, and Spotify and Amazon. And if you're watching us on YouTube, like the channel, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and we'll bring Glenn on in a second.
The information provided in these episodes is for entertainment purposes only. It is not a guarantee of success or to be construed as advice of any kind. You should always seek advice from local licensed professionals before making any decisions.
The dictionary defines an entrepreneur as a person who organizes and manages any enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initiative and risk. People often start a business without much choice, perhaps due to a job loss or just being dissatisfied at work, and they come up with an idea they just know can be successful. They become entrepreneurs by accident. That is to say, their success or failure happens by accident, not with intention. My name is Mitch Beinacker. I'm a corporate attorney and a business advisor. You're listening to The Accidental Entrepreneur, my podcast about how to achieve success on purpose, not by accident. Join me along with our monthly guests, where we share our knowledge and help you get a hold of your business. And now on to today's episode. All right, Glenn, thanks for coming on a Friday afternoon of Memorial Day weekend. So this will be coming out probably in September, but either way, it's Memorial Day weekend today. So, but thanks for joining me. You're the second guy to come on today who's, been an entrepreneur for 40 years, grown some businesses, which you'll tell us in a minute. The difference is the other guy started when he was 6, so he's a little bit younger than we are. But everybody's got a story, right? So maybe we could start with your story. Back, first businesses you've got involved with and things you did and what you went in and out of. And I think you have some inventions in there, right? And then we can get into Dot Photo, what it is, how people can learn about it and get involved on the other side of the commercials. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it.
As we were coming in, I was thinking about this idea of the accidental entrepreneur. And, I know that people are struggling today. You can just to get a house,
Yeah.
And I guess I felt the same way when I graduated from college. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm living in New Jersey. It's such a high cost place. I have to make a great deal of money just to buy a house.
Everything's relative, right?
Whatever I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Right? And my daughter now she's going to law school, and she says, well, I'm going to be a lawyer because I have to make a lot of money if I want to live in this area.
Yeah.
And look at the interest rates. What are the interest rates now to buy a house? Are they 8% or something? I mean, they were 12%.
7, 7.
They were 12%. They went to 20% at one point. I mean, my first house was 10.25%. I'm like playing a little violin for it,
Yeah, I know.
That's what causes people to become ambitious.
Everything's relative, right?
But I think the other thing that causes people to be ambitious is they go, you know what? I just don't want to be treated like this. I want to do my own thing. If I'm gonna wear the golden handcuffs, I might as well make them myself.
Right.
Let me get into something
Get
and work
fired.
hard.
It can be you fire yourself, not somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I kind of had that experience. I graduated from school. It was a terrible time in the economy. I was taking like typing tests in New York, and I went to a pretty good school. And somebody set me up with IBM, and I see all these guys in red ties and white shirts coming
Right.
and going. I'm thinking, hey, I don't want to do that, man. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that. So I was visiting some friends, and one guy says, "Hey, why don't you see if you can work at this computer store? They really need somebody there."
A retail store.
A retail store, yeah.
Okay.
They were 300 square feet behind a print shop in a basement.
Okay.
It doesn't get any worse than that. And
I was going to say it wasn't Best Buy, that's for sure.
yeah, it was run by a husband and wife. She lived in New York. She lived in Philadelphia. He lived in New York, and so they kind of left me there to run the basement shop, right? And I just got to know customers, and the business grew. And I moved it out to this this other store, and they were doing a couple $1 million a year, which was a lot then. And I asked for some of the equity, and they were just aghast that I would have,
Right.
so presumptive to think that because I had run this thing, I should have any piece
Running
of
the
it.
whole store.
So,
And these, Glenn, these were like IBM machines, NEC, Commodore. What kind of machines were in those days?
at that point, it was mainly Apple, and even things you've never heard of, Corvus disk drives and Zenith computer, whatever was coming.
Right. I remember there were a lot of those companies. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff coming in. In fact, later on, I remember making a speech at the Nassau Club in Princeton, and there's all these august people, and Timex had just brought out a computer that day for $100, and all they wanted to know is Timex going to take over the computer world?
Right.
Yes,
They're all,
absolutely.
what is it, 5.25-inch floppy disks? Is that what they were?
No, the Timex computer was like in a little plastic box, and you had to like attach everything to it to make it work.
Got it.
It was it was a ridiculous thing. But they figured they had a computer chip in their watches. They might as well make computers too, right?
Right.
Anyway, so I left that company. I went to Dow Jones for 9 months, and Dow Jones Information Services was getting started up. It was an exciting place to work because anybody would talk to you. I mean, we're the only company in the world that had its own satellite at the time. And then I said, well, I'd love to get a raise. And they said, well, that'd be more than 10%, and you're a member of the newspaper union because you had to be. And nobody gets more than a 10% raise. And I thought, well, this is not the place for me.
Right.
So this wonderful fellow, a Marine, a guy who had his own Mass Mutual insurance agency in New York, named Bob Clancy, he had said, we should have our own computer store. Princeton deserves a good computer store. So I finally called him up, and we've been having dinner every week, for about 9 months. And I called him up, and I said, well, do you want to do this or not? And I think he was waiting for that. Very often people are like, well, I really want to do this. I really want to do this.
But you want to see your initiative.
Yeah. People want to know you're ready to jump, right? They're not going to force you to do it. You got to say, hey, I'm going to do this. Is anybody else in this with me? Or is anybody else interested even?
And this is in Princeton, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there were already 5 computer stores. One just raised a couple $1 million in a public offering. There was Entree, Computerland. They were all there, right?
Yeah.
So we opened with 3 Zenith word processors in a converted beauty salon.
Okay. Not a big splash.
Not a big splash. Right. And after 9 months, the accountants hauled us in and said, we just want you to know that you're technically bankrupt.
Nice.
And I said, well, I think it's going to work. I really feel like it's coming together. And so we stayed open through Christmas, and we had sales of $1.1 million the first year, and we made a little bit of money.
Okay.
And then one of our big competitors was bragging to me about his state contracts and how the orders just come over the transom every day. The orders just pile in.
What kind of contracts did he have with the state?
He had Apple and other contracts. The state would negotiate for all the schools and all the state agencies
to buy equipment for the schools.
Yeah.
And he'd get orders all the time, just right from whatever school district.
Yeah. So you had the hunting license.
Yeah.
So one night I thought, well, let's see if we can bid the state contract, and I figured out a kind of innovative way to bid the contract, and we won. And boy, the orders did come pouring in. And Apple had a special deal at the end of the year where if you had bought so much or increased your sales so much, you got an extra spiff. And so we paid for our second
like the
store.
auto industry, right? You got a kicker.
Yeah, we paid for our second store with cash. I think we did $4.9 million the second year.
Nice.
And then we did 11 and then 16 and 21. And then the bank says, you guys are really thinly capitalized. And my partner says, yeah, but look at the
But we don't
return on
want debt.
equity.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Yeah, well, the bank
so
wants to loan you money when you don't need it. So that's what the banks do.
well, yeah, but then you need it too badly, right? You're so thinly capitalized they're worried.
Yeah, because you need equipment, right? You got to front things.
So I went out and I raised another $1 million. A guy came to our sales meeting. He just liked what he saw, and he was a lawyer. So we go out by the pool. We were at a hotel, and he writes a very fair deal in longhand. And we took that deal, and then we were going to go public. And I was, I was really thrilled, and I was a guest of NEC on a mountaintop in Switzerland.
Nice.
The day the market crashed.
Oh, God.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, I owe the bank $6 million, and should I even fly home, right?
Right. Now, you
Well,
had gone public, or this is just
No,
before you were going to go public?
No, the public offering was off. It's just
Got it.
off.
And NEC was you bought a lot of their equipment. Is that why you were there in Switzerland?
Yeah, we were good customers.
That's
And
nice.
the younger guys at NEC wanted the older Japanese men to meet somebody like me, see that the United States is a little different. So I was on the other side of the coin at that time in my life. But that was a lot of fun. But we were we were kind of at risk. So I go home and
Glenn,
just
are you
keep
there?
running the business and talking to customers, increasing the sales. We got to $35 million in sales.
I think we're having a problem.
We got,
Connectivity
160
issues. You
employees
there,
in
Glenn?
7 locations and a sales office in Washington. And
Glenn, are you back?
yeah,
Yeah,
I've
you
been
froze
talking
there
to you.
for a while. So you were saying that, you just froze up. I thought we were going to get disconnected. You were saying that a lot of the young guys with NEC, and then it cut off.
Okay, a lot of the young guys wanted the older managers from Japan to meet somebody like me and see that the United States was a little different.
Got it.
So we owed the bank $6 million. I fly home. We just keep working away at it.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the sales up to 35 million, and we were making money. We were having some problems, though. I was watching margins going down. This is kind of an interesting side note. We had 6 stores and a sales operation in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And we had a new mini computer system going in, which was a mess. We had the possibility that there was something else going on in the distribution of our computers. And indeed, the truck driver came in a red Corvette.
Okay.
And I said to some of the folks in the warehouse, that's kind of unusual. And I said, well, I don't trust people. Well, I had the trucks tailed.
Yeah.
I did everything I could to figure out why the margins were dropping. I had the trucks tailed, and I found out the truck driver was meeting another truck behind shopping centers and taking 1 or 2 computers every day. And we're sending so many computers out that people were just, they were just kind of rearranging the paper and saying, well, there must have been a paper error.
Right. It's skimming off the top, and people are just trying to cover it up.
Well, they weren't actually trying to cover it up. They
just thought it was an error. Yeah.
They just thought it was an error all the time. And so now when I see errors like that, I go, it could be something else. And no one ever wants to believe that. Right. But you kind of have to believe the facts and follow the facts. And it's not just with theft; it's with everything, right? If the sales are going down, or people are, in our case, printing less pictures, but they're sharing more pictures, you have to go, okay, well, I can't make them print more pictures. Maybe it's a different business now, right? Maybe things are changing. So you always have to look at the facts and say what's going on.
Right.
I thought it was funny that people thought I was so untrusting. When I had the facts,
when you were right. Yeah.
Not only was the guy stealing a lot of computers, but then he would go and he'd walk on the boardwalk for a couple hours and charge us for overtime. It was
nice.
It was a beautiful deal.
And then he had the balls to drive a Corvette to your office location, and like you're not going to notice.
My uncle gave that to me.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Why doesn't he just get a Lamborghini and drive around in that? That's right. You know what? People that steal and do stuff like that, they're relatively not the smartest people around. So they do stuff and then they get caught. That's what happens. I guess you had to terminate him, huh?
Yeah. Well, the end of the story was we had the private detective, and he said, Glenn, your computers are going to a pizza parlor, and they have a fake wall there, and they're selling stuff at it.
Oh, nice. It's like a secret store in the back of the pizza shop.
Here's the problem. This guy's been to jail already.
Yeah, he's probably part of the mob. They're probably
I got to tell you, if you go after him, you might have some problems for your family.
Yeah.
So So we kind of let that one go.
Yeah, right, exactly. Go buy a computer, you get a free pizza with it, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, but that's what happens. Sometimes you can't go after people for your own safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we eventually sold the company, and um, we did well. I was named the Small Business Person of the Year in New Jersey.
Okay.
Even before we sold the company, which was kind of interesting because, your life you get some awards, and you may feel at the time like, man, I don't really deserve this. I don't know where we're going, but there you are, and you're the
Yeah.
person. You're kind of the placeholder that year, so we did that. But then it all worked out, and it was a very exciting ride. And then you
Yeah,
go,
and that
what
was
am I going to?
late '80s. Was that crash when the Dow
Yeah,
was like 3,000 and it dropped to like 1,000 or something?
well,
Yeah, I was thinking it was.
it dropped 500 points in a day off 2,500.
Yeah, okay. I think it
Yeah.
was in a stock class at Cornell, and I remember the guy who taught the class was an adjunct professor, and Reagan flew him to D.C. to the White House when this happened to deal with whatever was going on. So you survived that, you built up the stores, and then you sold them. You never went public.
We never went public.
Okay, and everybody made money. You made money. The general agent made money. He was your investor. You had a bunch of other investors. Everybody got paid.
Everybody got paid. It was a good
Okay.
deal.
And what would you say you learned? That was really your first business venture, right? The other one, you were working for somebody, and then you started a business. So what would you say was the lesson there? Good and bad.
I mean, boy, there were so many lessons.
Yeah.
I was somewhat unfortunate in that I had such a great partner the first time.
That helps, right?
It does help because he was such a decent person. He
Yeah.
was a Marine. He believed in taking care of people. He was funny. Um, it was a wonderful relationship, and I kind of thought all partnerships would be like that.
No, you spend a lifetime finding a guy like that.
Yeah, you do. And I had it the first
Yes.
time out.
Yeah, you're very
I've had
lucky.
a lot of other partners, some good, some not so good, but
Right.
he was an amazing human being, and I miss him.
Yeah,
Um,
that's too bad. But I
yeah,
mean, it's a good experience. So but you must have been a planner and an organized guy, right? Because you're opening a new store, so that's got to be planned out. Everything's got to be mapped out. You must have had business plans for how you're going to grow and how you're going to operate things and all that kind of stuff, right? So, where'd you learn all those skills?
um, you have business plans, and you also do what you think is the next right thing to do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um,
Once just a roadmap, and then you got to adjust as you're going, right?
yeah, yeah.
Never works out the way
So we,
you plan.
so that industry was growing pretty wildly,
Right.
and there were a lot of people. Like I said, there were others who were already there, and they already had money. Most of them went out of business.
Yeah.
We ended up being the largest distributor of Apple and IBM in New Jersey. One of the reasons that I decided to sell was that I had this hilarious meeting with IBM where they came in and they said, "Well, and they always come in twos, right? at least two people. They can't go anywhere by themselves.
They don't go
So,
alone, right?
yeah. So
That's pretty
they
funny.
said, well, we need to talk to you.
Right.
You have a sales office in Washington D.C. and we haven't sanctioned that sales office. Like, well, we're really good at selling to the government. We know what we're doing, and we have a big sales office here in New Jersey. Yeah, well, we haven't sanctioned that, so we'd like you to close that office. Okay.
And it was doing a lot of business, right?
Well, we were bidding the national contract,
Right.
and starting to do some business there. And then I said, you need to order some more computers. I said, well, we have 2,000 computers on order now, and you're not delivering them. Well, you need to order like whatever we can give you, and right now we can give you PC Juniors and Model 60s, both of which nobody wanted.
That's why, right?
Yeah, right. They had no computers.
This is the way the big companies work, right? They
That's
go
the way
and
they work.
squeeze you.
And they go, we're your partner. And
Right.
so I just go like, okay, partner.
Right.
So you want me to close down a place where I can sell your computers, and you don't want to ship me the computers that I have on order, and you want me to order some things that nobody wants. Yes.
Nice.
Okay,
Well, at least they were
partner.
honest about it, right?
Yeah. And we got the point where we were just all laughing because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if this is my partner, I'm in real trouble.
Right. Yeah, that's not good. They eventually got out of the PC business, right? They just do big machines. Now, Apple, let me think. I was in college or going into college. So that was around when the Macintosh was coming out, right?
Well, yeah, we were selling Macintoshes, and we had sold the Lisa before that, which was a
The
hundred
Lisa, right? I remember
pound
that one. Yeah.
boat anchor, right? And it could make a ball bounce around the screen. Everybody thought that was
Right.
pretty great. It was
Right.
$10,000.
Yeah.
That didn't do well, and Steve Jobs was right to make a smaller computer that would be more profitable and do more, and he did
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So you sold that business, and that was what year did you sell the business?
89, I think it was.
So right after the crash, probably like a year or so after the crash.
2 years after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Got
closed it after that.
Okay. And then what did you do? You had a pile of money, and you like had nothing to do.
It's funny because we were in, I think, Houston or Dallas for an IBM meeting,
Okay.
and this guy sold his business about the same time.
Okay.
And Mark Cuban calls me up and says, "Hey, well, let's compare notes. Let's go have a drink tonight."
Mark Cuban?
So, yeah,
Your kid, the Mark Cuban?
yeah, the Mark Cuban.
Well, but he was, how old was he at this? He was young. It's probably my
Yeah.
age. 20s, right?
Well, so was I. So
So you're all young, right? Okay.
yeah, so we had a drink, and
Okay.
he was real competitive. He wanted to know all about my deal, and he told me about his deal, and he also had a computer. He had more of an integration company, I think. We were doing a lot of sales and a lot of networking too, but I don't know how different they were. Um, he said, "Well, what are you going to do with your money?" And I told him, and I said, "What are you going to do?" He says, "Well, I just bought a lifetime ticket on American Airlines. It was like $60,000."
Lifetime, you mean so American Airlines, you could travel forever with no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you had to go standby, but if there was a seat, they had to give it to you, right? Because you had the ticket.
Nice.
So he always had that big interest in planes, and now he's got his own.
Yeah, well, he made it in some big tech company, right? They were like Broadview or Broadbent, something like that.
Well, what he did after that was he hung out his own VC shingle, and I called him a couple of times about things, and we didn't talk. And it occurred to me later that what he was doing was looking for a good idea.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a great way to find a good idea. Tell people that you're looking for investments. So he finds this video company,
Yeah.
and I think there were other people who started it, but he kind of took it over. At least
Streaming video,
face
right?
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they signed a lot of contracts. People were interested in video at the time. The only thing I think they ever really did was the Super Bowl, right? They had like a Victoria's Secret fashion show, and that crashed because so many people were trying to watch it. And then Yahoo bought it. And then he did the smartest thing he ever did, which was to put a collar on the Yahoo stock. And a collar locks in your value so that you give away most of the upside, but if it goes down, you
Right. It's like
money.
a put and a call, right? One on each side.
Yeah, so Yahoo gets destroyed. He keeps his money. He ends up making more money on the thing than the founders of Yahoo.
That's funny.
And the whole thing, as far as I can tell, never had any real revenue. It certainly didn't have any profits, but it was just one big deal.
Right.
And it's interesting to see that, you can kind of be a deal maker and be an entrepreneur too.
Yeah.
I always thought it was always about talking to customers and making products and stuff like that. And that is one way to do it, but there's also another way, which is just kind of put together deals and buy and sell things.
Yeah, no, he just convinced them that this was something they should buy and they could do a lot with it, like YouTube did with Google or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the fallen have,
In fact, you might want to do a show about that sometime, how to sell things. Maybe you've already done it, your 300 plus shows. But I've
done shows about people that have exited and how they've sold the business and so forth. I mean, but yeah, definitely deal making is an art. I mean, these guys do deals sometimes and you can't even imagine, like, how did they get $17 billion for the company? How did they get, $800 million for the company? Because they convinced these guys that that's why what they should be paying. So,
well, AOL is the great one, right?
Yeah.
They sold AOL at the time and just really destroyed time, but they did great for the AOL shareholders.
There you go. They make a deal. But, and that's what happens a lot with corporate mergers and, huge acquisitions, and it just never works. Either there's culture clashes or they just don't do it right. And it just, just falls apart. So, yeah, that's different than small business acquisition, though. I mean, when you take over a business, you actually can do your due diligence and take it over and run the business the way it should be run. That's a little bit different. So, okay, so Mark went off and did his thing. What did you do?
Well, I did a number of things.
Okay.
Um, One of the first things I did was to start a piece of sales quoting software. It was called
Okay.
Quick Quote.
Quick
And
quote. Okay.
yeah, I did it because I noticed that my salespeople very often would say, "Boy, I've got," or I'd say to them, "Look, this guy wants to buy 20 computers," and then I'd talk to them 2 weeks later and say, "Well, I'm still working on the quote."
Right. Like, what the
So,
hell are you doing? Right.
I found a partner and put together this piece of sales quoting software, and it was an interesting thing because there's always certain things in a quote that are important to the buyer, right?
Right.
So we made sure that those items could be priced at whatever they were, and then you'd hit a button, and it would distribute the margin dollars that you needed to make a profitable sale to everything else.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a clever little idea, and there were a lot
Yeah.
of companies around the world that use it for all kinds of things. At some point, my partner ran out of ambition, and what we should have done is put it on the internet and become Salesforce, but he didn't want to make that change, right?
Okay.
So I'm looking around, and I had a little camera. Well, not a little camera; it's like a brick, right? A 640 by 480
Right.
digital camera, and I'm thinking, man, all you can get out of these cameras is like streaky inkjet pictures. This is a terrible thing.
Right.
So I got together with a guy who ran a Moto Photo, and
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, Moto photos. Like
yeah,
Photomat, but afterward.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we put together a little thing called Photos by Net, Photos by Web, Photos by Net, I think it was.
Okay.
And you upload your pictures and
Mhm.
you print them out. And you get like actual, Kodak quality pictures.
Well, how did they do that? They were mailed back to them?
Yeah, they'd be mailed
Yeah.
back.
Okay. Yeah, it's like
So
Shutterfly or those types of things. Now it's the later
yeah,
evolution
well,
of it.
this
Right.
was like '98.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So we got so many orders that we couldn't print them.
That's funny.
I went to Moto Photo one Friday. I said, "Look, I don't care if we work all weekend, but we got to get the orders out. It doesn't matter whether we make money or not. But we got to, get the orders out.
Right.
Show there's something here." And after a couple hours, it became apparent to me we were never going to get all these orders out. It's just
You
the
had that
technology.
many?
Yeah, it just didn't exist in
It wasn't
that kind of
right.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
So we raised $800,000 and we bought these giant exposing devices, and we set up our own lab, and we started Dot Photo.
That's where it came about. And this was what year?
That was 1999.
Oh, okay. So Dot Photo's been around 25 years.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a long time. All right, why don't we do this? Let's take a commercial break. Then we can come back on the other side and talk about Dot Photo, what it is, and how people can use the service, and what you've learned in your 25 years of running the business, because you've seen the technology, the whole horizon change, obviously, as the internet changed. So,
yes.
All right, so let's take a break, and we'll come right back.
Here's a word from our sponsors.
Looking to market and grow your business? Or perhaps you're just getting started and want to hit the ground running? AWeber is the best choice for online email marketing and automation of your business. From maintaining a subscriber list to drip campaigns and landing pages, AWeber gives you tools and integrations that make marketing easy and fun. As our partner and sponsor, we use all their tools to promote the podcast and market our law firm. AWeber, the best alternative for online marketing. For over 30 years, the Alternative Board, or TAB, has built a thriving community of forward-thinking CEOs and business owners who want to radically improve their companies. Through unique combinations of one-on-one business coaching, participation in monthly TAB board meetings with other non-competing owners, a suite of strategic tools, and customized strategic planning workshops, TAB membership can deliver greater strength to your business and a better work-life balance for you and your family. All packaged in a streamlined and affordable service that the people at TAB invite you to try risk-free. Are you struggling with managing advertising due to a lack of time or expertise? Perhaps you're facing challenges in scaling ads for your store. Are you feeling lost when strategies have no success? GSM Growth Agency is your reliable partner in overcoming these business challenges. Feel the impact of collaborating with a team dedicated not only to short-term goals, but also to building long-term partnerships and achieving sustained success. Embark on an exciting journey to redefine the possibilities of e-commerce and create a legacy of unparalleled excellence. Take decisive action now. Follow their link in the show notes to receive a complimentary audit of your Shopify store conducted by a GSM expert. Propel your e-commerce game to new heights with GSM Growth Agency. Follow the link in the show notes to learn more about all of our sponsors. And now back to our show. All right, Glenn, we're back. So we are, we're just coming over the horizon here where you started Dot Photo because you said it was too hard to print photos. So you wanted to do it online. Is that what it was? Where you could let other people print their own photos?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? I'm trying to find my way back to our sign in here.
Oh, it's a tab. It should be a tab on your Chrome. There's a tab somewhere. You can't see me right now, is what you're saying?
I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, did you see it on the browser? There should be a tab up top. That may be one of your connectivity problems. You probably have too many windows open.
Believe it or not, I actually closed a lot of them. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, there you are. Okay, there you go. So was that the concept? Like, you're like, well, we can't run a business like this, just printing all these pictures and shipping them. So let's figure a way to get people to print their own.
No, the idea was to print them faster. So
Okay.
we raised $800,000. We set up a lab in Trenton.
Okay.
And I had this idea that we were going to run this fantastic lab, and we we're going to create jobs and bring business back to Trenton, which is, kind of a difficult city to operate in now.
It is.
And what was happening is that we were producing too many bad pictures. In fact, sometimes the images
The quality, you mean?
Yeah, they'd be all black, right?
Oh, that's not
completely overexposed.
Right.
And the people who were working in the lab would just keep shipping them out. And I had
They didn't pay attention to them. They just ship them.
They just ship them. And I had signs. Nobody wants these, put these pictures. And I finally determined that I couldn't work with this workforce.
Yeah.
They didn't care enough. And
because of the socioeconomics of that city, the workforce that was available in Trenton, it just wasn't the most conscientious group.
It seemed that way to me.
Yeah.
That we just could not run a great lab there.
Yeah.
So we eventually outsourced the lab to a guy who had a very large printing operation. I still work with them today, and with some other labs too.
Okay.
But they're the best. And he was very nice, and in fact he owns Shutterfly and Snapfish and others now. Mystic, and he owns like everything in the world.
Okay.
So Dot Photo was doing very well. We would print 1 out of every 2 uploads, if you can believe that. And now, if we print 1 out of every 2,000 uploads, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, because they have it on their phone, they have it on digital frames. They don't really print everything. I can't remember the last time I printed a picture.
Well, there are reasons to print pictures, and not just 4x6. I mean, there are people who print lots of 4x6s, but there's
you go on a vacation, you want to do a panoramic, you want to do a bigger one. Yeah,
there's also things like mugs. One of my favorite items. I brought this for you.
Pillows. There you go.
Pillows.
Nice.
Now, I got to tell you, I love pillows. This is a picture of my mother when she was a nurse.
Oh, nice.
And my mother passed away recently from dementia.
I'm sorry.
And thank you. But I had that pillow made, and I put it in her room because I wanted the people that worked with her to understand that she was somebody,
Got it. Because she was in a care facility before she was the dementia.
And that she was a nurse like them, And so I had this lovely pillow made. And I really like the pillows and the mugs because unlike the pictures that you put on your wall, these are things that you live with, right? You move them around, you set them up, and they kind of bring your loved ones to you.
So you can get all that through Dot Photo. It's not just
you can get all that through Dot Photo.
Got it.
And the interesting thing about Dot Photo is, I learned so many things there.
Right.
One is, going back to fax, and I'm looking at carrier groups in the Pacific. They're uploading pictures to Dot Photo, and people in Omaha are going, here's our pictures from Omaha, and they're sharing them that way. And I said this to the board, which was mostly a bunch of small business people who had put in a little bit of money, and you got to be careful with a big board and with a bunch of small business people, because they go, I can read numbers, right?
Right.
I don't like these numbers.
Yeah.
The numbers don't tell the story. The
Right.
story is that people are printing fewer pictures. And by the way, this Facebook is going to be bigger than us real soon.
Right.
Like, they'll never monetize it. I understand business.
That's what they
They
said.
won't monetize. Oh, yeah. I heard that all day long.
People thought Jeff Bezos would never make any money either. He was red for
God.
a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then I put together a wonderful piece in the browser that will allow people to take their pictures, which are essentially story elements, and even short videos, and add a musical track underneath, and add their voice to each picture if they want, and add captions, and do Ken Burns effects between the transitions of the pictures. You could do this all in the browser, right, without an app or anything.
So a slideshow to basically animate.
But I mean, a pretty super slideshow with voice and music and everything else, right? I don't know any place on the web right now where you can do that.
Right.
So that was done in Flash, and it was a really great application. We were delivering 600,000 shows a month in 2006.
So so you wouldn't have to download it. As long as you had an internet connection, you could run it right from the browser.
Anybody could run it. Yeah, you could tell your story. And in fact, we set it up so that it could be automatically uploaded to YouTube.
Okay.
Well, why do we want to do that? Because we don't want to bear the cost of the bandwidth. So we put a .photo logo on it, right?
All your thing, right? Of course.
I mean, I did a little demo piece that's been seen 7 million times about the Hubble Deep Field Image.
Okay.
But what happened was the board said, "You'll never monetize that. How can you?" Well, I don't know how to monetize this yet, but look, people love this.
Right.
And then Steve Jobs killed Flash, and one of the things I'd love to do is get back to that, but I've come up with different products in the meantime.
Yeah. So that's an interesting conversation, because people they don't always have boards, right? They have some advisors they work with. They have a few investors, but how many board members do you have?
At that point, we had like 12 board members.
This is back when?
This is 2006, 2004,
okay.
5,
early
6.
on, 5-6 years into the company.
Completely unruly. And you really don't want to have a big board, and you only want to have people that you can really trust on the board.
Right.
So our board was divided into two factions, and one group thought that I was a genius, and the other thought that I was trying to sell the company out from under them, which I never was.
Right.
Only trying to, make this into something.
Yeah.
But in any case, we did raise some money. We brought in venture capitalists, and I learned some more lessons. You know how you hear that entrepreneurs spend money like crazy?
Yeah. Well, the venture capitalists tell you that.
Yeah. And it's the venture capitalists who are spending the money.
Right.
You're not spending money fast enough, because
right.
It's not the first raise, it's the second raise where they get their claws in, right?
Yeah.
The first raise, they want 20, 30% of the company, and the second raise, they own you.
Right. Of course. And they want you to burn through money, and they want to deploy capital, and yeah, of course.
Yeah, and that's the way it works. And I wish somebody had told me that. I also felt uneasy that we were bringing in the so-called professional management, who, to me, they were just stooges.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, these are like Remora that follow around, at least in this part of the country, our little venture capitalists here in New Jersey, which is nothing like California. We don't even have a single unicorn in New Jersey. You would think with all the intellectual capital here, we'd have a unicorn, wouldn't you?
Nothing.
A unicorn is a privately held company worth more than $1 billion, but we got nothing here.
Right.
The best company in New Jersey nobody's ever heard of. It's Universal Display.
Okay.
And they raised money themselves, and they lost money for like 15 years. And now they have last time I checked, like $700 million, and they're a public company. You could have bought their stock for $8 a share, and now it goes for, I think, 180, something like that.
So Universal Display, they make universal displays, just like it sounds?
No. They licensed the patent for organic LEDs from Princeton, and now they get patents all the time. They own OLEDs. So if you have a phone, which is almost all OLED screens, right?
Right.
You're paying them, and if you have the very best TV made is like an LG OLED.
Right.
You're paying patent fees to them.
So they basically own patents and collect royalties.
Yeah, they're like the Qualcomm of screens.
Wow.
Right. And their stock symbol is OLED, and their website is oled.com. I mean, that's what they are.
Right.
So they want to go into lighting and everything else, and they're a little frightened that Samsung and others are trying to displace them with QLED and everything. But
Right.
so far, OLED is it's a good
Yeah, it's been a good run
product.
for them. So how did
Yeah.
you start? So how did the board start changing? You bought people out. What did you do?
Well, the venture capitalists took over.
Oh, they took out most of the board.
Yeah, so we brought in this guy who's going to make us rich, this CEO, and I was told, well, he has a non-dilution clause. And I'm like,
Right.
well, I don't think so. I mean, that doesn't. He wouldn't be pulling in the same direction. Oh, well, that's the way it has to be. It has to be that way. And that was a really bad decision on my part to allow
non-dilution
that.
clauses. Right, of course,
A
because
good
then you
friend,
can get diluted down to nothing, and he keeps his percentage of ownership.
and that was the idea. And
Right.
that was exactly the idea. In fact, they diluted, they ruined the company.
Yeah.
And never reported to shareholders, and it really made me very angry. So at one point, I bought back the website, and I greatly overpaid for it, thinking that I was doing the right thing and helping the company out, the shareholders that I brought in. But I bought the website in 2007, and they went off to do mobile, because that's what the venture capitalists like, mobile, right? And I'm like, well, mobile is just a technology. We're really selling solutions, not technologies. Well,
Right.
no, mobile, it's all mobile, right? So we had a lot of ridiculous apps, soothsaying app and all kinds of things that I thought we should sell off while we still could, which they eventually did. Anyway, they ran that up, and then they closed it down, and they never told anybody what happened. So in the meantime, here I've got Dot Photo, and I owed another good chunk of money at the end of 2008.
Okay.
Right? Remember what happened in 2008? The whole world was falling apart.
Yeah, the mortgage collapsed, real estate dropped.
So we made a quick sale of the company, and they got their money, and then I went off and I got into the wound care business.
Got it. Which makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're doing something completely unrelated. You have no experience in healthcare. Let's go into wound care.
Well, a friend said to me, look, I've got a $2 million wound care company. Can you just help me take it national?
Okay, so that you did know how to do.
So, yeah, well,
think about wound care.
Having had this experience with computers and tablets and images, I thought, well, let's take pictures of wounds in nursing homes and have somebody centralized who can look at the pictures and help nurses understand how better to treat their wounds.
Okay.
Which everybody loved the idea except the lawyers.
Right. Well, because was there even HIPAA in those days? I don't think so yet. Right.
Well, HIPAA wasn't the big deal, but why do you think the lawyers would not like anyone to see a wound picture?
Because of what it could do to the people viewing it, maybe?
Well, yeah. I mean, if a jury saw a wound picture, it didn't matter whether they were doing a good job or a bad job with the wound. They're like,
right.
That's gross. Somebody has to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. You're guilty.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Defense attorneys didn't like it.
Yeah. No one feels that way any longer. They're taking a lot of pictures of wounds. But in those days, this is a really bad idea.
That's funny.
So we ended up creating the software that documented the wounds and generated ICD-10 codes, which are categories of reimbursement for Medicare,
Okay.
and really helped to gather the data so that the wound care company could ship out the products to nursing homes and be paid, which is a great business. Because Medicare pays in about 25 days if you submit the right information. So the only time the software really broke down was kind of mysterious one day last year. And we realized that we had not set the order variable high enough. So it hit 1 million.
Uh-huh.
So it processed 1 million orders.
Your own year 2K.
And stopped.
Right.
Yeah, but that was pretty easy to fix.
Got it. So were you more of the tech guy or more of the sales and business development guy? Like, do you have a background in computer science?
I was a single E. English
Okay,
major.
what a single E?
That's an English major.
Oh, yeah, no, we talked about
double E
that,
is an electric.
Yeah, exactly.
But somebody has to understand where technology can go and how it can help people, and just kind of sort it out.
Right.
And then go find somebody to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no. Look, the guy I spoke to this morning, I told you he's younger than us. Yeah, I don't think he even has a high school degree, and he's bought and sold several companies. Most of them have been technology related. Now they're in the payment processing business where they're, saving all these fees for people and everything. He doesn't do that. He's the business development guy. He knows how to develop business. He's a salesman. He's always been, tough because he had to growing up in a poor family. And, sales drives everything. You can go hire all the people you need, right? You can get it done. That's not the problem. It's like getting the sales is always the hard part. Getting people to buy what you.
My first partner, my mentor used to say, nothing happens until somebody sells something.
Well, that's common he was an insurance agent, right?
He was an insurance agent, yeah. And it's so true, right?
Yeah, my dad was an insurance agent since 1965, and he used to say, nothing happens until somebody closes a deal. And it's true, right? All the rest of it is just preparation for the sale.
Yeah.
Building the product and making the signs and doing the advertising and all that stuff. Nobody's changing until money changes hands. It's all a dress rehearsal. And it's true. And that's, what you learn over time, and people should embrace that, I think, more than shy away from, I don't want to sell. I don't want to be a salesman. Well, we all sell, whether you like it or not, because you want something.
We're coming to a new dimension in business.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone's aware of now.
Yeah. Because it happened very fast. A lot of people aren't prepared. I don't think they're ready.
Well, the new idea, which you've probably heard people talking about, is the customer journey.
Yeah.
Which I used to think was, the first few times I heard it, I thought, customer journey.
The customer experience, right? Exactly.
Just a new thing, right? Just a new thing to talk about. But what you're able now to do is to, I'm a huge believer in FAQs, frequently asked questions, right? So I have a number of different businesses where I've answered all these things, and people go there all times of the day, and they learn about what they need to do, and they get decent answers. So you start with FAQs, and they say, okay, well, what are all the things people want to know from the time they get involved with us to the time that they leave the business?
Right.
And what are all the objections? And then you have a customer ID, and that unique ID knows who they are, whether they're chatting or they're calling or they're sending you an email or any way that they're trying to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And you can set up systems now to give them the right information. Now, this is where AI comes in. Everybody's talking about AI as if it's some kind of app that you install, right? Oh, I'll get the AI in there, it'll just do it. It can't do it. You need to think through the customer journey and then apply the AI to all of that. And it's really complex, but it's going to create better systems and better experiences.
Right.
Now, I used to be a Verizon wireless customer. And one day, after a couple of hours trying to get an answer to a small billing problem, I thought, why am I doing this? I'm so angry and frustrated.
Right.
And I've tried all of the channels, and I just canceled all my phones, my family's phones, and I went to T-Mobile the next day and got everything.
Yeah.
And T-Mobile has figured this out. They've done this customer journey, and you just get answers and you get help, and it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, no, we switched over there too, and we never have a problem. There's always somebody you can get on the telephone. They're very communicative. If there's ever a problem, they correct it. I've never had any issues. We've been happy moving over to T-Mobile. So yeah, we were Verizon customers. We still have FiOS at home, but that's all we got.
So it's interesting that some organizations are figuring out how to do this.
Yeah, that's always the case, right? Some figure, some don't.
By the way, have you looked at T-Mobile stock? I mean, it's way outpaced Verizon and AT&T.
Well, I heard, and I don't know if this is just internet rhetoric and just rumor, and I guess we'll find out when this episode comes out, but there's something that's buzzing around that T-Mobile is going to change all their plans and push everybody to the top plans starting in the fall. Now, we are on the Go 5, whatever it is, plan for the 5 of us. So I don't think that affects me. But, you hear all these rumors. You don't know if they're true or not true or what to believe. So I don't know what's going on there. If those are Verizon plants, I have no idea. I just read about it all the time. I hear it on the internet.
Well, I know that they just this week added another $5 a line. So
okay. So
they're starting that optimization thing that MBAs do.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's see how hard we can squeeze people and make more money.
I know. Yeah. I when my son moved back from Indiana, we got we got a storage space. It was like $250 to start, and they gave you a free month. Well, after 3 months, it went up to $310 due to market conditions. I can't imagine it's a warehouse, right? And then another 3 or 4 months, now it's going up to $400. And I said, people keep raising it. I'm going to move out. It's going to be cheaper for me to get a truck and move to another location. So, yeah, I mean, that's what they do. They get you in the door. They figure they got you, and you're not going to leave. But now it's not so hard to leave. Now things are portable at different. But, it's a hassle to go and change all your phones and move and deal. So, it's a stickier relationship. But the customer journey is important because that creates the stickiness of people who are more tolerant to those kind of changes, where you're like, you know what, they've done a lot for me in the past. I'll deal with it for now because I know what I didn't like and why I left Verizon. So, that's, it's like the cable company. They call you up, and in the old days, they'd be like, well, is that okay, sir? Like, what choice do I have? Either I take that or I don't have television. So what's my other choice? Now you have streaming and you have TV, and we don't even get TV through Verizon. We use the streaming app. We do it all streaming. Yeah. So, and they're all competing that way.
Well, I'm thinking that small businesses, and for our next .photo service and for .photo, I'm thinking about really mapping out the customer relationship and saying, okay, how can we leverage these new technologies to make sure that people have this awesome experience? Now, we do our best as a small business, and I answer a lot of the phones, right? I talk to people, and I always learn something.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I find very unusual. I talk to executives who are like, yes, I believe in customer service. Like, when was the last time you talked to a customer?
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
Never.
I know. That's true. That's all BS. Yeah. Well, you got much smaller staff than you used to, because a lot of stuff you do is virtual. You're using a lab that does the printing, right? So you don't have a factory warehouse now with people walking around. So how many employees do you have? Full-time employees do you have nowadays?
And that's the good thing. I mean, you can really. I mean, gosh, we used to be concerned that we were paying $60,000 a month for storage, and that storage was going to bury us. But now we use Amazon storage, and we've really reduced our storage costs. We have 3 people.
Yeah. You can run a big company with a small staff now. I run my law practice practically virtual. I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. I have one assistant that helps me with some medical stuff I do. Everything else is pretty much AI or some sort of software that I'm using that supports me. I don't want another employee in my life. Not that that's good for the economy, but, things change. Like, the last turn of the century, the Luddites were like, manufacturing machines. Nobody's going to have any jobs. There's going to be nothing to do. Everything changes, right? Of course, there's no, telephone switchboard operators, but there's other things. So that's what happens. So, but what's the future of .photo? It's a website, just like Shutterfly, right? You can go to .photo. What is it? .photo.com? Is that right?
Yes. DOTPHOTO.com.
Right. And people can order books, order their photos, make mugs and pillows and all kinds of stuff. What makes .photo, in your opinion, because you're the guy, unique to or different than other services?
It's very easy to use. It's a simple service.
Okay.
It doesn't throw ads up.
Okay. Right? That's important, right?
People think they're keeping their pictures on social media, right?
Yeah.
But they're being downsized, so you don't have the full size of your image ever. And you got to look at all kinds of junk to get to your photos, right? So we also make it easy to share in every possible way.
Got it. So .photo is not just a processing website; it's a storage facility. So I could store all of my family photos in your cloud.
Yeah, it's unlimited storage, and we have customers who have like 40,000, 50,000 pictures.
You pay a monthly fee, right?
Yeah, that's really cheap too. I mean,
what's your fees go with?
It's $1.67 a month paid annually, so $19.99. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a better deal than.
We use iMemories. I think that's $50 a year.
Yeah.
Thought that was cheap. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know how I can move all that stuff. Jeez, I don't even know how to get it out of the cloud. I could see it. I could download some of it, but I got to download all the parts. I don't know how the hell to get it moved. What if they go out of business someday and then I'm in trouble, right? Yeah. That's one of the problems that I worry about, cloud-based stuff.
Actually, you probably do want to back that up to a drive. And,
yeah.
We let people download everything from .photo. It's very easy. Just go into an album and download the album's zip file.
Yeah. Yeah. No. There must be a service that could do it, right? That could back it up to a portable hard drive or something from the web. Does that work with .photo, or you got to do them separately?
If somebody requests it, we can download all their files to a memory stick and send it to them. That's one of the services we offer.
If they have that many photos, and it would take them forever to back it up. Interesting. All right. So, anything?
We also have new businesses. That we're
Yes. What do you got going? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What's on the horizon?
Yeah. So I hope by the time this podcast comes out, we'll have picturethis.shop.
Picture
So
this dot shop. Oh, dot
yeah.
shop. Interesting. Okay.
So very often you don't really want to see a million pictures. You
Right.
got one picture that you really like. It's a
Yeah.
baby picture. It's a meme, a graduation picture, a wedding picture. I got this one picture. Um, so this would be a web service, not an app. We don't want you to have to run an app.
Right.
Just you'll go to picturethis.shop. You'll either upload it from your phone or give us a link, and we'll take that picture and we'll instantly show it on 16 different products, and then we'll give you a link, and that's your store, right? That's your shop.
Oh,
So
it's like almost like Printify, something like
yeah,
that, right? But for photos.
except it's super easy. There's no
Okay.
onboarding service. It's just like, here's my photo. Like, let's say it's the logo of your business, right?
Okay.
Here's my logo, and here it is on 16 popular products. And you can take that link and you can add it to your website, or you can put it on in your social media. You can send out an email. Hey, here's the picture from the party, where we all were. And if you want to get it on any of this stuff, you can get it.
Right.
And
Or for graduation, your daughter graduates high school and want to
all
offer.
the family wants to get something,
Yeah.
right? They want to get a mug or a pillow or whatever it is.
Right. Well, you can't do that now on Dot Photo.
They can, but you got to join Dot Photo, and then you got to upload the picture, and then you got to set the things up. And this is just going to be so incredibly easy. So here's the link, right? Now, if you want to mark it up, if you're a professional photographer, or you just say, hey, that's it. Here's my great meme. And I think that people will buy this and everything. So I want to mark it up 25%. You give us your PayPal address, and we will send you money every time somebody buys it.
Automatically.
Yeah. So, there's going to be nothing easier than this.
So basically, if you upload the photo using the link, it'll automatically put it on these things. You just choose what you want.
You don't even have to choose it. We're going to choose them automatically. We're just trying to make this as easy as possible. Now, maybe down the line, we'll say, okay, you can get your own selection. But what we found on the internet is that the fewer choices people have to make, the more they use something.
Oh, yeah,
right?
There's no question about it. People want convenience. I mean, that's why they use Amazon all the time, right? Because they're all set up. This stuff pops up. They click. They're done. It comes, ding dong. They ring the doorbell before you hit send.
Right.
They're the ultimate customer experience company. I mean, their algorithm in the early days would say, "Oh, Glenn, you just bought toilet paper. Do you need paper towels and all these 20 things?" And you're like, "Oh, click, click, click. Just make it easy." Returns easy. Now, obviously, they have Whole Foods where you can return. It's really easy to return.
Right.
Amazon, but whatever. I think you recognize that customer experience is the business. It's not.
Yeah.
People want their photos in some format, but there are choices. They want things to be easy to do and understand and make it not a big intrusive part of their life. They want to be done with it. Like, for example, I told you, we go away on vacation, you got these panoramic pictures. I don't know what to do with half of them. If there was just a website that I can upload them and they would show up in a frame or something like that, and press a button and come, I'd hang them in my house, but I haven't bothered to get them. And I got to put them in a frame and all this shit. So maybe the fall we'll do that and we'll give it a shot.
We have a terrific framing service, by the way.
Do you? Is that called frame.shop?
No, it's on Dot Photo, and you can upload your picture, and then you can put it into a frame, and you can change the mats. You can have multiple mats of different colors, and and try different frames and see exactly how it will look before it ever gets made.
And then you guys will make it and ship it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll definitely do that. We just got back from Italy, beginning of April. Yeah, late May, March, early April. And I definitely have some panoramics of some of the cities I want to throw up there. So I'll give it a try.
Speaking of Italy, we have a product called the $1 Billion Art Gallery, which has 500 of the greatest paintings in the world.
Oh, really?
My wife and I went to Italy to see our paintings.
Nice. Where did you go? What city were you in? Rome? Florence?
No, we went to Rome and Venice.
Venice, nice.
Yeah. And we've been to Paris and other places to see the great museums. And we're teaming up with a guy who has a travel service now to make $1 Billion Art Gallery tours. Yeah,
that's crazy. We just, I know we're talking technology and photos and everything, so I guess it's on topic. So we were in the Apple store, my son and I. They switched me to an Apple phone because we were in Italy and they couldn't do iMessage, you couldn't FaceTime. So I said, all right, it's the same plug as the Samsung, I'll do it. So I switched to Apple. So I need a new watch. So we went to look for the watch so they'll get it for Father's Day. While we were there, the guy said, there's no line. Would you like to try the new Vision Pro system? It's like, what is it, $4,000 or $5,000 or something like that? So we both put them on. There was no wait. And it was, Glenn, it is the future of what you're going to see. So if you want to travel, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to replace travel, but if you want to explore a city before you get there, because you get to a city, you don't know anything, you miss stuff, you don't really, you spend a week there, you're like, oh, I wish we weren't leaving because we're just starting to get to know the city. You could get to know where you're going ahead of time in 180-degree 3D, walk around the city, check things out, see the stores, this and that. And then when you get there, you feel like you're more comfortable with where you're going. It was just crazy. Yeah. It's all special technology. And, you basically it tracks your iris. So you look at the apps and they light up as you look at them and you snap your finger. You don't click on it this way. You just snap your fingers in front of you and it registers. It's the most amazing technology. It's going to change. Someday they'll be in like glasses like this and you'll be able to see everything in front of you. Just look at it and click. And, you look at your browser, you'll click at it. You'll look at the thing and it'll type out .photo.com. You look at your photo, you grab it, you bring the photo onto .com, you drop it on .photo, and you could just do it with your hands right in front of you. So that's the future of technology. If you guys keep up with that, because that's going to be, photos, to be able to do them by hand and just move them around is something that we're going to, I don't know, in our lifetime, but certainly our kids' lifetime.
Well, the $1 Billion Art Gallery is designed really to take dark screens. There are probably 250 million screens that are mostly dark in our country. Okay. And you just run it on your TV all the time. And you're walking through the room and you go, isn't that beautiful? I wonder what that is. And up comes the caption, the name of the painting, the name of the painter. So
it's like a screensaver for your TV.
A little bit. Yeah. It's on a USB stick that you plug in and it turns it into the greatest art gallery in history.
So where do you get that $1 Billion Art Gallery?
You can get it on Sharper Image or on Amazon.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Or on our website, $1BillionArtGallery.com.
Well, that makes sense. All right. So we'll have to, you're a real tech entrepreneur. You got all kinds of, you probably like the guy I met this morning. You got ideas bouncing around your head all the time. And mostly about photos, right? And art.
A lot about that.
Yeah. Anything else that you're thinking about these days that you can reveal? Maybe you don't want to.
There's so much that can go on in healthcare.
Yeah, sure.
That's 20%
imaging
of
is going to be
now.
crazy. Yeah, I know. It's just crazy the way that's going to hit a brick wall at some point. Someone's going to give. So we'll have to see what happens. But I do appreciate you spending more than an hour with me just before the weekend. And we'll put all your links in the show notes. People, check out .photo.com. That's .photo.com. Check out BillionArtGallery.com. And in the fall, hopefully when this comes out, watch for, what was the other one?
PictureThis.shop.
.shop, right. PictureThis.shop. All right, Glenn, I can't thank you enough, and have a great weekend.
Mitch, it was delightful talking with you, and I hope you have a nice Memorial Day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Accidental Entrepreneur. Opening and closing music written and performed by Howie Moskovich and made to order music. For information about Howie and his music services, please follow the link in our show notes. If you like the podcast, please tell others about us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most of the other podcast directories. If you like what you hear, please leave us a 5-star review and feel free to share our episodes on social media. If you have any questions or comments, ideas for the show, or you'd even like to appear as a guest, reach out to us by email at info@beinackerlaw.com.
The Accidental Entrepreneur is hosted by Mitch Beinacker and produced by Beinacker Law. If you'd like to learn more about our business and legal services, you can find us on social media or visit our website at beinackerlaw.com. Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our feed to be notified of all future episodes.